Okay. Thunderbreaker. Oh, you're having the time of your life right now, huh?
Yeah, bro. I was and I heard our classes lost a lot of damage and stuff.
Yeah.
I got on and everything was like slow.
Mm. Everything was like slow. Mm.
Yeah.
That's yeah, that seems like an understatement, but So how are you dealing these days?
Um, I'm doing all right. I just don't know what to do, in the game, because I feel like I don't do any damage.
Mm-hmm. Are you able
Well, I
to
mean, like
yeah, go.
I don't know, go for a. I don't know what you're gonna say.
Well, are there like other skill combinations you can use, other combos you can use that kind of, aren't as bad as how slow the old combination is, but maybe not as bad as the good old combination, but at least not as bad as the new combination, I guess.
Honestly, I haven't trained too much since like that patch went live, so
Okay.
yeah, I kind of just like do whatever.
Okay. And what kind of stuff do you enjoy doing in general?
I kind of like training. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, maybe I'll regret saying that like up in the future levels. But
Yeah, maybe. You liked getting up to 210 so
oh
far.
yeah, I think that was pretty fun. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like I got like a lot weaker. Or like, cause like I just unlocked Choo Choo Island, bro,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and like, sheesh, I don't do any damage to those mobs.
Yeah, everything gets a lot
But
stronger. The faster you level, the more you realize that it is kind of required to keep upgrading your character and your damage, right?
yeah, so that's why I was like, damn, I need to do something.
Mm-hmm. You're like, let's get some help from the Scardor man.
Yeah, yep.
Okay. All right, so let me scroll through the things real quick. So what's your situation with like Legion and Links and stuff? How far is that?
With links, I kind of just like I don't know, like I searched up a guide, but I kind of just like slow down on that.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of was focused on leveling up my main.
Yeah,
And for
sure.
Legion, I was kind of like I got like a little bored of like my Thunderbreaker, so I was like, oh, I'm gonna try other classes. So I kind of just like leveled some.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not too much. Like, it's not like a lot I leveled, but it's a little bit.
So you thought like, what other class doesn't have a shitty situation like Thunderbreaker right now? Like Xenon, they're in like a great spot. So let me play that
Yeah,
one a
I know.
little bit.
Actually, yeah, I was a Xenon. I was trying to become a Xenon main first.
Mm-hmm. I
Like
see
that's
you're.
like I got it like 181 or something.
Yeah, you're picking those top tier classes. I see. Mechanic, Xenon,
Yeah, and I was like,
Thunderbreaker,
man, Thunderbird looks
Nightwalker.
like a cool class. So let me go to that.
Mm-hmm. They do look
So
kind of. They do look kind of cool. I
yeah,
enjoyed
their
like getting
abilities are
the.
sick.
I enjoyed getting into 200 very much. Like zooming through the map. Really good
Yeah,
time.
so that's why I switched to Thunderbreaker.
I see. Yeah, when it comes to Lynx and Legion, usually I clump those together because they're both kind of account value, right?
Yeah,
So based on that, have you ever seen the Lynx command that I have?
I actually haven't.
Okay. So basically what I try to do with this is kind of group up all of the sort of buffs that you can get from Lynx and Legion based on whether everyone needs them or some classes need them, or if you need them a little bit later in the game or more early on in the game. And then based on that, and then the combination of both the Link skill and the Legion buff of all the characters, it basically be like what rolled out, it wasn't really intentional, but what rolled out was basically like an order of what is the value for your entire account for these characters, basically. So you can use this if you want as like a general order in which an account gives you value to your account. A character gives you value to your account.
All right.
And then you can also see like what they give. So yeah, if you zoom out, it's like a lot of information on one page, of course. But the main thing to look at is like the yellow stuff is just always useful. Crit rate, crit damage, those are very important. And then just damage percentage in general, and then EXP is up here just to speed up. So this might not directly, like immediately make your main level a lot stronger, get a lot stronger and level a lot faster. Though it will, but maybe not as much as you might think, or it feels like disproportionately you're spending a little bit more time away from your character. But eventually, once your Legion and your Lynx, once you have a lot of other characters and they start growing, your main will get a lot of benefit from that and will start seeing a lot of damage. Now that's of course outside of the purview of like how quick is your character and how quickly can you attack and stuff. That's we'll have to look into some other stuff for that. But yeah, if your character gets nerfed, like that's kind of beyond the scope of this system. Of course, there's no ranks of attack speed coming in from your Legion or your Lynx skills. But it can be some utility. But I don't think you need the knockback resistance, right? Because once you're chaining attacks, I believe you have 100% knockback resistance.
I think. I don't know where to check that at.
Well, I think if you stand still in your stat window, I think it says like 0% or something, or like really low. And then once you're chaining, I believe it goes up to 100. I had this conversation before with not Thunderbreaker.
Yeah, I'm not too sure because it says it's in the stat window.
Does it change in the stat window, or is it just when you hit monsters that you're just not getting knocked?
Here, let me go hit some monsters real quick.
I'm not sure if it shows
up.
Oh
yeah,
in
100% knockback resistance.
Yeah. So there might be some situations when you're not chaining where you can still get knocked, so you have to take that into account. But then you're pretty much always chaining stuff, so when you're chaining you have that 100%. So that's something up to you personally. Like, are there a lot of situations where you could still get knocked back and where that's very annoying for you and you do want to just have 100% all the time? Then you could get the Mihai Link skill for that. But in general, that wouldn't be mainstream for a class that has reliable access to knockback resistance. If you're mainly going to be training, then I would definitely focus on just all of the yellow columns here. As well as to build out your Legion and your Lynx, as well as making your main character stronger. And then once you get higher up and you want to do way more bosses, by that time you will arrive at like the blue area. But you see that there's a lot of overlap here as well, right, with the blue ones. So with like the first 20 or 30 characters you make, you're pretty much also gonna make almost all of the get all of the buffs from both Lynx and Legion that will help you with boss damage.
I see.
Yeah, so some of that yeah.
So Link is like 120 level 2, right?
Yeah, the levels are here as well in the bottom. So it says like what levels you get your Legion ranks and what level you get your Link skill levels. Because of that, usually the sweet spot where people leave their characters are around 140. Because, you know, here you get into Legion, and then 10 higher you get your level 1 Link, but then 30 higher you get your, which these levels are still pretty quick, you get your rank A, but then 20 levels you get your rank 2, but then 20 levels you get this one, but then there's like a big jump. The next jump is 60 levels to get to 200, and that's a little wide jump. So
yeah,
typically people get to like 100 and then maybe 120, maybe do some Monster Park, maybe do some Zakum, and then just get to 140 and then kind of just leave the character there. And yeah, if you do notice that you don't want to be taken away from your character for long periods of time, I would do like a little bit of Legion on the side, just a little bit every day. Maybe just in the beginning, easiest thing you could do is just make a new character and get it to level 60 or something. That shouldn't take too long.
Yeah.
And then besides that, just work on your main as long as you know, or do it as long as you like. Make sure that it doesn't go at the cost of other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because the top 40 characters count for your Legion, right?
Oh, it's top 40?
Yeah, the 40 highest level characters, yeah.
Okay.
So the next 28 characters you make and reach level 60 on, all of their levels will count. So that's like 1,440 levels. That's basically doubling what you currently have. So, yeah, you'll almost be at 2.9k just by flooding your account with level 60s. If you just make one of each, get them to 60, and you're almost at 3k already.
Oh shoot. Damn, have to do that.
Yeah,
not too bad.
Yeah, like one extra character to 60 would be like the same amount of Legion gains as getting your Nightwalker to 200, basically. So there's like huge value in just shitter characters that can not do anything, but all of their levels add up to a lot. So then you'll get to 3K. That means that you get the first grid expansion. That means you get to put 5 extra characters in from 2.5 to 3. Because when you go from 2.5 to 3, from 5 to 5.5, and then from 7.5 to 8, you get 5 extra characters to put on the board instead of 1. And that's when the real numbers start. And at 3K is when you start getting access to like critical damage, critical rate, boss damage, and IED. And those are typically very important, especially once you start bossing and getting into the higher level areas.
So about that grid, like where should I be putting my stuff at? Because I kind of just put it random. Like,
yeah.
it looks weird.
Yeah, it looks a little bit weird.
I was like playing Tetris there or some shit.
Do you know about the changing the mid stats? Like you can change the location where they are.
I actually do not. I actually like don't know much about Legion.
I see. So if you click in the grid, you click on one of those arrows next to a stat. It'll give you a drop-down menu of all the stats. And you can switch them around like that.
Oh, okay.
So you could make it so that the top right, you have most of the pieces there. I would just change HP for strength and then intellect for weapon attack, for example, so that you can set them to your Thunderbreaker. And then all you have to do is make sure that where strength is, that you put either HP or intellect there, and that where attack was, you put HP or intellect there, so that all of the individual stats are still assigned somewhere. And then you can click apply, I think, or click OK in the bottom right, and then it'll lock in like that.
Okay, wait, so you said put the top right strength and weapon attack?
Yeah, because that's where you already have the most pieces, so that'll save us the most time in moving pieces around, basically.
Okay. What about the bottom left, like where some of them go? Should I do strength again?
Well, we could just drag those and drag them to the top right, and then we basically just make a square in the top right.
Oh, okay.
That's the easiest way to fill it out, rather than like 2 triangles that are weird, because then you have a bunch of angles, right? Now you can just overlap between the lines, and it's fine. All of it will give you stat. Yo, thank you, Dory.
So all this applies to just all my characters, just my main character?
Well, yeah, so any character you go on, this will apply, but if you go into a mage character, what you can do is you can swap out the strength for magic attack, and or for intellect, and then the attack for magic attack, and then you don't have to move any characters around. They'll just instantly switch over, and boom.
Alright, makes sense.
Yeah, and as the grid gets bigger and everything, the value of the middle part of the grid, where you have the flat stats, I guess, the stats and the weapon magic attack, will get a little bit lower, and instead we'll focus more on things like crit rate and critical damage, because that ends up giving you way more damage. But yeah, at that point you have different setups, and then it gets a little bit more complicated, but that's when you have way more characters on the board. So for now, you just throw it into one square, make sure that strength and weapon attack, if you're in the Thunderbreaker, are applied, and then you at least get some more value from the characters. Because one thing is that you're earning the value for your account, but the other thing is that you have to apply it properly to make sure that you can benefit from it, right?
Yeah.
Did you manage to do that?
I'm trying to move around the pieces, but it's like not working. Like, I don't know how you move around the pieces.
You gotta like click and drag?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do, but it's like not working.
Is the middle still filled? You have to make sure that the pieces touch other pieces, and that at least one piece of the center 4 keeps having a emblem of a symbol in it, or an emblem of a piece, like the either the arrow or the anchor or the throwing star or the sword.
Okay.
Has to stay, because if you're trying to drag the archer piece, for example, because I think it might be sticking out to the left, right? If you try to drag that one, it won't work. What you could do with that one, though, is like rotate it either up or to the right, and then you can shift the other piece to the side a little bit.
It's still not working. I'm trying to like drag and stuff. Shoot.
Yeah, wait, I could show you on like if I have an empty board, I think I have one open still, yeah. Oh no, I don't have this one unlocked anymore. Yeah, I only have these 2.
Okay, never mind. I figured it out.
You got it? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it is. Okay.
Yeah, so you won't have it like completely, the square like completely filled, but almost.
The right. The okay, almost like it.
Yeah, you won't see it do like insane things for your damage, of course, but you know, it's basically like the Hayato Link skill getting it doubled, right? So
Yeah.
that's
Okay.
kind of nice. Click assign units. Yeah, if you are not in assign units option, it won't do very much.
All right. So I mostly fill up the top right. So is that good? Like
Mm-hmm.
just keep it like that. All right.
Yeah, and did you is it strength and weapon attack up there now?
Oh, let me add that real quick.
Because then you should be able to see in the bottom right in the grid bonus, it should say that there's the strength and weapon attack are like a significant amount. Because now it's a little bit all over the place, right? Like 25 strength, 5 dex, 4 intellect, 2000 HP, and a little bit of MP.
Yeah, it says strength. Wait,
Strength is like...
it says strength 40 dex plus 5,
Mm-hmm.
magic attack plus 13, and then max MP plus 250.
Could you like screen share it real quick? Maybe we'll go over it.
Oh yeah, I got you.
Let's see. Yeah, so the piece on the left, you cannot move that one.
Oh, I can move that one.
Yeah, and like shift it up to the top right somewhere as well.
Otherwise, what can I assign units?
Yeah, so you have 2 more stats right now. Okay, so if you click this, yeah, this means like you see you have 2 highlighted in the bottom left. It means that not all the stats are applied right now, so you can't assign units.
Oh, okay.
So if you can kind of see which ones are not applied yet. Wait, if you go to the top right one, the magic attack, and switch that one out for attack real quick.
Uh-huh.
And then you click the ones in the bottom middle. If you click one and you show the drop down, you can see there's like a slight marker over which stats aren't used yet. You see that on the bottom? You see like HP kind of has like, it's slightly different color.
Oh, okay, yeah, I see.
Yeah, so HP still has to be assigned. So if you assign HP to this one, because if you send something else, then the other stat that you have on the board is just going to get unassigned, and then you gotta keep going in circles. You see that?
Yeah.
So magic attack and HP are the ones that are not assigned right now, I think. So you do magic attack. Yeah, and now it says everything. Then you can OK, right? And then now you can confirm, and then it locks this in.
Okay.
There, and now you can see on the bottom right. Yeah, you see 40 strength, 13 weapon attack, right? That's a lot better than a little bit of everything.
Yeah. Okay, it makes sense.
And as the characters grow, you might have to move the piece around a little bit. And so if you go to a different character now, like let's say you go to a mage, can you redo the stats now? Like what if you wanted to take advantage of these stats and you run a mage?
Yeah, so I'll just change this to like int, right, and magic attack, both these.
Yeah, so if you remember where intellect and magic attack are, then you just click those and you make sure that you select strength and attack there, and then you can immediately. Like,
okay.
You don't have to do like the ring around the rosy and like switch 15 times. Yeah, now for the first time to figure it out. But yeah, if you look closely, you can slightly see like a gray marker, like around the stat that is trying to still be applied, but it's not that easy to see.
All right.
Yeah, so once you get to 3K, once you get to 2K, actually, you'll get an extra grid space. So basically 1 extra hex in every dimension will be available. So you'll start going into the outer regions for just 1 hex.
Okay.
And then
so can you change these, like versus critical rate?
No, those are hard locked.
All right.
And then 3K is another one, 4K, 5K, and then 6K you have access to the entire board. But since it's diagonal, that means that with every 1,000 more, you get access to one hex more than on the last one, right? So on the first one, you just get 6 squares, I think. 2, 4, 6. Yeah, and then 7, then 8, then 9, and then 10. So for a total of 40 on each of those areas if you get the 6k Legion. Which seems like, impossible and super far away. But remember, since you can get 40 characters in there, if you have a few characters that are higher level and everything else gets to 140, then you have 6k at that point. And that's kind of like the goal for like late game for most people. So that's not like the goal for next week, but eventually by the time people get to like 250 and they're thinking about like hard lucid and hard will and that kind of stuff, then it'd be advisable to also have around like a 6k Legion at that point, so that you can benefit way more from the link skills and the grid bonuses and the member bonuses that all of those characters will give, because it will add up a lot. And what you'll notice is once you get to 2k, 2.5k, and especially once you get to 3k and put those extra 5 characters in with the extra grid space, is that every new character you make is going to be so much stronger than what you were getting used to, and you'll be able to level up new characters so much faster than the previous ones.
Oh,
and
damn.
that's when working on Legion and Links is going to be way more fun rather than just like another character like a drag,
Yeah.
and you will have already played the character to level 60 and then to level 100, so you'll already kind of know the skills and you'll be able to switch into the mode of that character a lot faster rather than just be like, oh god, what does this character do? Does it have a teleport? Does it have a magic guard? Like, you'll be able to switch way faster between them. Yeah. So
okay. So would you use bonus XP sometimes to level up, or?
Yeah, so that's so one of the most important things is, and that's why in the links as well, like critical rate is this high up, this early on in the list. One of the most important things and one of the biggest damage multipliers that you have in the game is critical damage. It's really, really important. But if you don't have 100% crit rate, then it doesn't really apply all the time, so you can't reliably get a high kill speed. So what you want is a lot of critical rate early on. So once you get your board at least to like 2k, 3k, you'll be able to put a bunch in critical rate so that every character that you're playing can basically get to 100% crit rate between that and the links. Now, if you can get to 100% crit rate and also fill out the critical damage, and you still have some left, you can go into bonus experience. However, it's really inefficient because 1 grid of bonus EXP is 0.25, so you need 4 hexes for 1%. So if you compare that to... did you make a 0 and a Beast Tamer, by the way?
I didn't make a 0. I do have a Beast Tamer, though.
Mm-hmm. Because this is going to feel bad now, but like for 0, the Legion piece, if you get to... I think if you get to 200 is 10% experience. So that's the equivalent of the whole bonus experience block filled by just leveling a 0 to 200.
Damn.
So there's like 40. Yeah, it's major, right? It's insane. Yeah. So yeah, filling the bonus experience, that's nice, but that's really once you're at 6k or above Legion and you're still trying to min-max on characters and on training, but not so much by getting up there. It's way more valuable to fill out the crit rate and the critical damage to make sure that your your base level damage is higher so that you can kill monsters faster. The way you can think about this is, well, if you can one-shot a monster instead of two-shot, you're essentially doubling the experience you can get, provided that there's enough monsters in the map, etc. But if you gain, fill the whole bonus experience and you get 10% more experience, that's only good if you're already one-shotting in the first place.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah, so that's why the critical rate is so high. So I would definitely look at the Legion Links grid and kind of see like which characters are high on the list and which one would be a good one to do next. I'll send it to you in the Discord.
Yeah, I was gonna ask for it. Yeah.
Yeah, if there's a character that you're training and you just absolutely fucking hate it, and it's like impossible for you to even get to 70 or get to 100, then just set that character aside and make sure that once a mega burn comes along, you just mega burn it instead, so you can save yourself a lot of time and anguish. That's usually because some people just go for mega burn on characters just because they're useful, but I would introduce the factor of useful and like annoying to play, because there's almost 50 classes now. There's going to be like 4 or 5 of them that are just absolutely horrendous for you to play, like that you're just going to hate, right? So those, if you could save time disliking what you're doing, I think that's always more valuable than getting, your link skill a little bit earlier or a little bit later, what the difference is there.
So how often does the burning come out?
So it seems that now we have the pattern that we have Terra burnings twice a year, like on the summer and on the winter events. So Neo seems that it also had 2 Terra burns, so that's burning all the way up to 200. So that could be,
okay.
that would have really good value for either a rank, You rank S for Legion piece, so that would be like the fourth one, or like the second one from the right, I guess, for the green pieces, if those are really good numbers that you're looking for. Or really close to the level 3 link, if there are 3 numbers in the white area. So if a character has a combination, like a Phantom, for example, that has Meso Obtain, if you want that, it's only 1% more here, though, so that's like the number to look at, right? Maybe the Beast Tamer, right? The Beast Tamer goes from 3 to 5 IED, and then also gains more boss damage, crit rate, and percentage HP and MP over here. Let's say that you don't like training Beast Tamer, and there's a Terra Burnout, and you can actually create Beast Tamers, right? Because it has to be on character creation for Terra Burning and for Mega Burning. Then that would be like an ideal candidate for you. So if you know you're already going to do that later, then you just keep the Beast Tamer at like 100 or 120 or whatever, wherever it's at, or even if it's at 70, like I don't care. As long as you know, like, okay, next summer, boom, we're going to go all the way to 210 on that, and then until then, focus on other stuff.
All right.
Does it all kind of make sense? Yeah, so you can look at this grid to see like which ones tick the nice boxes. Which ones do you already have? Because you do have like 12 characters already, right? Do you see like a bunch in the list that are like, especially the ones high up in the list that you already have?
I know I have a Mercedes created. I don't have a Ron Evan, no Zero. I have a Mechanic. A Phantom 3 low level. I have both of the demon classes, so like at least above level 60. Because for link wise, Beast Tamer was level 120. Cannon Master. I started working on Akana. I think you have to farm maces to Akana. So that's pretty much it right now.
Yeah, I'll probably focus on these classes first. This is going to be your solid foundation to have your experience, crit rate, crit damage, buff duration, cooldown reduction. Like these are like the most important ones. So definitely work on at least making those and trying to get those to 140. Usually what I do is just make the character and either get to 60 or to 100, you know, depending on how much you enjoy the character and how much time you want to take out for it. If you have totems for that or not, like, you know, that can all depend. And then once they're at 100, usually I just do Zakum every day, and then I don't do anything else on the character. I just move on to a new character, and every character I just go back, do Zakum, and then log out again. Because it's like a lot of experience that you can get on a short amount of time. The other thing you can also do that's like very time efficient for a lot of experience is do like do Monster Park. That's also really good typically early on. But you don't want it to go at the expense of your progress for your Monster Park medal, which you might be working on, or maybe not.
Monster Park medal?
You're not aware? Okay. So if you go, have you ever done Monster Park before?
Yeah, I've done it like a lot of times, yeah.
And if you have talked to Spiegelman, and he like keeps track of how many times you've completed your runs?
I don't think so. I kind of just like just do it and then leave, you know.
I see. Yeah, well, the first time he has like a light bulb. I don't know if you've ever clicked him.
Let me go to Monster Park real quick.
Yep.
Is it the Daily Medal Challenge?
Yeah, that one, yeah. Ooh, you haven't started it. Okay. So if you do this one, he keeps track of how many times you've cleared. And then for every single day, I hope you haven't done it like hundreds of times already. Well, you're 210, so it probably isn't that bad. Basically, now he keeps track. So if you open up the quest tab and you go to special, you can see like for every day. Oh yeah, he already has it open. You can see like for every day which how many times you've already cleared it. So if you hit 77 on any day, so that means if you do 7 runs a day, at least 11 weeks of it. So this is like a long-term project. Then you will get the Monster Parker medal for that day, which is basically just 7 all and 7 weapon and magic attack, nothing special. But on Mondays, it'll have the hidden effect of giving you 10% IED as well, which is really nice. And then if you, but it'll only have that special effect on that day. And if you get all 7 of them and you complete the whole quest, then he will give you the 7-day Monster Parker badge, which gives you the exact same stats, but it works every day of the week. So you can just always have that one on. Yeah, basically because medals don't have like the least amount of damage addition in the entire game of all the pieces, getting your IED on this one is by far the most valuable. So for the long term, that's like a thing that if you're planning on maining the character for a longer time, it's definitely something that's worth working on.
Oh, all right. Shit, I didn't even know about this.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
it's you probably well, yeah. If you've been doing it regularly, then you probably missed out on like total probably like 100 runs or something. But
Damn.
yeah, the total is like over 500, so it's whatever, I guess. You're like doing 550 runs or something, so 548. So yeah, it's a setback, but at least you know about it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in general, it's just a really good thing to do this 7 times a day because of the boxes and then the coins from the boxes to buy the potions, right? You're aware of those?
Yeah, I know about like the green, the red, and the...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Do you know how to get like extra coupons to do the 7 runs a day?
You go to the cash shop, right?
Yeah, if you have you usually buy them with Mezzo or with reward points. Do you have like a plan?
Okay. The problem is I feel like I don't have like a good Meso income. I only have like 38 mil. My Meso income is just Ursus. If I get the time to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Ursus and Maple Tour would be good things to do. Have you done Maple Tour before?
I actually have not done Maple Tour. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, they've recently nerfed it a bit, but it's still like good daily income. Maple Tour is basically like Monster Park, but for just for money. The only main difference is that the extra runs cost you Maple points, so it's not as accessible. So you basically usually just do the 2 free runs. And the other thing is that you have to they kind of hold on to your money for a week, and then you pick it up after a week because then the amount doubles compared to if you pick it up early. So there's like every week you'll have like a payday for depending on how many times you've done it. If you do that every day plus Ursus, then you can roughly, it's a little bit lower now because they messed around with the rates quite a bit, but it should roughly be around being able to make like a bill per week, like that roughly. So that should be enough to at least fund extra Monster Park coupons, and of course once you get to do more bosses and stuff, the crystals will start paying back as well. So if you go out here, Maple Tour is there's like a board, but just like the Monster Park, it's also accessible through the dimensional mirror.
Oh, you have to go to the dimensional mirror, right?
Yeah, there's usually an NPC in almost all the maps, but I usually just like top right, just like click the. Do you see on the top right where it says like the quick travel thing? Or is it quick? Like underneath your minimap?
Oh, quick move, yeah.
Yeah, and then you can click the dimensional mirror there. Then you don't have to like walk around the map all the time. So Maple Tour is there on top of Brood Abyss, yeah. So it's basically, yeah, so the NPC in the middle gives you like an explanation. Basically, you have to make sure you're not in a party, and then on the top right, there's the map, and then you get to just pick whatever difficulty you want to do, and you just pick the highest difficulty, level 200 plus, and then you just, it's like Monster Park, you just kill all the monsters in the map, go to the next one, kill all the monsters in the map, go to the next one, and then the last one, it says complete, and then you do that twice a day, and then basically once you start at one day it's going to say like, hey, you have to pick up your money first before you can go, and then you basically just talk to the Lulu Spinel NPC in the middle, and then she'll just give you your money, and then you can start going again. So that'll be once a week depending on how many clears you've done.
Okay, makes sense.
Yep. So this plus Ursus is like a good daily income. And you know what, Ursus has certain times when it's double the Mezzo?
Yeah, I always was confused about what time they go first. It's like when everyone's doing it,
Yeah, because the time of the server never changes, so that when we go into like daylight saving time and stuff, then it can be a different time of the day. And also sometimes during the summer and the winter they'll extend the period, and sometimes it's a 12-hour and sometimes it's a 4-hour. So you really want to kind of stay updated and be like, have your feelers out, or like be in a stream, or be have somewhere. Because sometimes you'll log in and you'll get the mention like in the middle of the day, and it's really weird. Yeah, and if no one else is queuing, then sometimes you're queuing forever before you get in. Yeah, so
yeah,
I usually run daily with the stream with like mainly to have the people who are more laggy to make sure that they can load in properly. So we wait for everyone, but yeah, we try to make sure to get that double Ursus run in every day or triple, I guess, for the double money.
All right.
Yeah, so these two is good income, and the other main income probably is going to be your boss crystals. Have you know about that whole system?
Oh yeah, every time you kill a boss, you get the crystal, right? And you sell in the Hennessy's, right, in that one place.
Yeah, sell it in the free market to the collector.
Yeah.
So he buys up to 60 per week per character. So if you wanted to do like certain bosses on multiple characters, you could also do that. Like it stacks in that way.
I don't even know what boss. The only ones I know I can do is for like Zekum. Well, does Ursus count as a boss crystal?
No, Ursus just gives you straight up money from the reward. It doesn't have a crystal that it drops, no.
The only ones I've been doing are probably like Zekum and Hilla,
Mm-hmm.
pretty much.
Yeah, so for that, if you want to see like a little bit more like which monsters you can do, I'll link you to this one. And if you look on stream, you can see this one as well. Yo, thank you, Kopasan. Kopasan. For the big raid. What's up, guys? We're helping a Thunderbreaker player get a little bit better of a handle of the game and what to do and what to work on. I guess we're kind of going through like dailies and general income and that kind of stuff. So if you look at that, it's two-part. You can see, so this is like the dailies. Oh, whoops, I clicked the wrong thing. The dailies and the kind of the value of the daily. So this also has the first column, the column B has the crystal value of the bosses as well. So you can kind of look at this to see like, okay, what bosses have certain value in the crystals, and what, you know, in case I kill those bosses daily, what can I expect in return from that? So some of the bosses that you could do, and the second tab goes by your level. So if you kind of go down here, you can kind of see like which ones are, well, some of these might be a little bit optimistic, you know. Probably the last part, and that's something that you have to kind of know yourself in, like, okay, is it like your first character? Do you have like maxed out boost nodes already and it's your 16th character? You know, that those are two, you could be the same level, but you can be a completely different character, right? So some of these is more like, okay, you can try it, and if it's absolutely impossible, then you know for yourself, you need to either get a lot of levels or a huge upgrade or a combination of these things. So most of these things, for now, you're probably going to err on the side of caution. But you pretty much should be able to do all the things at least that are indicated here under level 200. So basically all of these, right? Like all of the ones that are blue here.
Yeah.
So Hard von Leon and up. So if you look for Hard von Leon and up here, if you did want to make some extra money from bosses, you do see some boss crystals here give you quite a bit more, right? Like normal Magnus. You know, if you've tried that one before, Hard von Leon, if you've unlocked that one. Easy Sickness might be possible, but might be a little bit longer of a boss fight. Even regular Horntail is like 4 mil. You see like a normal Hillis Crystal is like 2.4. And what was the other boss you mentioned?
Hilla and Zekum.
Oh yeah, Zakum. Yeah, Zakum is 1.8, right? But if you look at like Magnus, for example, is 7.8, so that's like 4 days worth of Zakum in just one crystal. So if you are able to start doing these daily, you can get that money. And then Magnus would be a boss that I think is very good to do in general, because he also drops double S tier soul shards. So that's for later. Once you make your weapon into a soul weapon, you'll be able to infuse it with a boss soul. And the higher the tier of the boss soul, generally the more desirable the outcome of the buff of the soul. So if you can start...
Oh, actually, I think I have one of those.
Yeah, those little triangle... Yeah, so soul weapon, if you use like those enchanters, you can make your weapon into a soul weapon. And then if you have those soul shards, those little triangle thingies, like they're like orangey, purpley.
Yeah, because I think I have the Vellum one equipped.
Okay, yeah, that's fine, yeah. But not a magnificent one, probably, right?
Is there a way to check? Do I just hover on my weapon?
Yeah, the name of the soul should be on top somewhere.
Oh, Swift Vellum apply soul.
Yeah, Swift. Okay, yeah. So that gives you extra. What is it? Oh, I don't see it on this picture. But Swift is probably extra dex or something. I don't know.
It says, oh yeah,
dex. Yeah,
plus 10 attack, plus 10 magic attack, plus 24 dex.
Yeah, so that 10 weapon and magic attack, that's from it just being a soul weapon in general. So that can charge, if you charge up to 500 soul power, where it says like 6 out of 1,000 now, if that goes to 500, then your weapon and magic attack will be at 20. So that's another reason why it's good to make your weapon into a soul weapon, because it just can give you up to 20 extra weapon attack, which is a really nice upgrade. And then the dex, that's just a buff that's always active, even if you don't have the soul power charged. Because of the Swift Vellum soul that's on your soul. And you also see Vellum's Rage will be available, so you also have the Vellum's Rage soul skill available if you want to use that, though the normal Vellum soul skill isn't really worth using at all, so advise really
All
messing around with
right.
that too much. But basically, so the way it works is you get a soul, you put it on a soul weapon, and then you can activate the soul with a soul energy. That will cost, typically I think it costs 200, and then the soul skill will apply. But mostly the low level ones is just like either a singular attack that sometimes only hits one target. Well, that's most of the lower level souls, so it's just not worth using at all. It's just very like an old system that doesn't really apply to the current game anymore. Later on, though, if you get the magnificent, like if you can get a magnificent Magnus, for example, not only do you have a chance of like the higher stats, you can get something like 3% attack if you're lucky from the buff, where it says 24 dex now, so that would be way better, right? And then the Magnus Soul is also a summon, so he will just be summoned around you for a while, and he would just be killing monsters with you and helping you kill. So that would be like a way better soul for later on in the game for like more permanent weapons once you get into Abzo and stuff like that.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah, but it's a good thing to start killing the bosses that you can around your level and start gathering the soul shots so that during a magnificent soul event, then you can double click your souls and try to get for those magnificent souls, because outside of the event there's only 1% chance, and then during those events you have 5% chance. So the odds are still bad, but at least they're way better than outside of the event. So that's usually people just do those daily bosses, do those weekly bosses to save up those soul shards, specifically the double S tier ones, and then during Magnificent Soul event, then they go ham on trying to get Magnificence. The other stuff that's good is the equips that you get from it. I think you already have some of these pieces, right? Do you have all of these already?
For normal Magnus?
Yeah, so the badge, the shoulder, the cape, and the shoe, because I think I saw...
I have the shoe, the shoulder. I don't know about the badge and the cape.
Yeah, you have the badge, but you don't need it because you have the ghost ship, right? So that's a better, better set. Yeah, the cape could be a small upgrade in your current situation, but that one is not too relevant. So you wouldn't be doing it for the equips, at least not on this guy. But for the soul shards and for the crystal value, I think it would be a good thing to do. And it's also a good thing to do these dailies just so that you can kind of feel your progression, to see you getting better at controlling your character and playing around the mechanics of the boss. And you can start feeling when you make upgrades that the bosses just become faster and easier to kill.
All right.
Because of those two things. So in general, if you're like, kind of lost and like looking for like what can I do around my level, this can help you out. And if you are like around this level and you're trying these things and you're just like horribly outscaled, like you just can't do anything, it's good to look at, okay, how did you fail, right? Because if you don't try at all, like you don't learn anything. But if you at least try, you can see, okay, did I just not know what I was doing? Were my mechanics horrible? Maybe you need to look up like a guide, look up a video, practice a bit more, go into practice mode, stuff like that. Were you just way too weak? Like, were you able to stay alive through the thing, but did you just almost like run out of time or just not even scratch the boss? Then you need to work on damage, but we'll look on that a little bit to see how we can already set you on the path to being able to do those things around your level. Mm-hmm. Or like, do you have like a horrible connection, or you're very, very laggy? Then you probably need to find a party and do stuff together with other people, because soloing might not be just not be possible for you, right? So if you fail like any kind of way that you fail, it's good to understand why and how, and then what are the fixes for going forward, so you can reduce the chance of failure.
Yeah, 'cause I was trying to do chaos root abyss.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing a decent amount of damage. I saw like the health bar going a little bit down.
Mm-hmm.
Just like I just didn't know like the mechanics, like what the bosses do. So I just kind of got destroyed. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that could be sometimes what could be useful is if you have some kind of way of recording your run, just to see like what hits you, what kills you where. Make sure that you don't have too much outside interference, like you don't have a stream on, you don't have like music on, but that you actually have like the in-game sound on, and maybe there are some sound cues that you can use. Or YouTube videos, or just asking in the chat like, yo, I just got destroyed, and then people could be like, oh, what did you do here, what hit you, right? Because people will want to help you out in general, especially in my chat. I try to cultivate not so much people soloing stuff, but people trying to carry their own weight, and people trying to learn the actual game, right, and play through the content. So if you have questions like that, there'll be a bunch of people in the chat who'll be willing to help you out and think along with you to see what you can do to improve for next time.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of that, which boss did you try? Did you try all of them or just one of them?
The only one I tried was the queen, that one, and I was getting blind. I think she blinds you, right? Or
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
like we can't see, so I just couldn't see like when she was hitting. I think I got because like, I was using the title crash move. We were just like go like move around, so I didn't get hit.
Right.
But I
Right.
just couldn't see. Yeah.
Yeah, so so one of the things is in the beginning it's important to just like jump around the boss a little bit and just see what she does. Like what are her attacks, what are her indicators, what are her tells, does she telegraph her attacks like a minute in advance, or is it like boom, are there any instant attacks that you need to be able to move on a dime for? How big are the hitboxes of the skills? Do you get hit from across the map, or is it enough to just stand right behind her? The major, and then Queen is difficult in that because she has 4 different faces that she swaps between. So she has basically their 4 different bosses in one with all their unique mechanics.
Okay.
So there's a lot to go through for that boss, but specifically like she always starts on the fire phase where she gives you DOT stacks, so you're forced to constantly be healing. And then if you stand too close to her, she swipes you for quite a lot of damage. And then she has the blinding, and then she has the huge breath. If you're in a party, you can stack together and tank the breath because the total damage of the breath will get equally divided among the people who get hit. But if you're soloing, you'll take the full hit, so you have to be on the other side of her. And it doesn't suffice to just be on the opposite side. You also have to be outside of the hitbox of her body. Like her whole body will become a hitbox, and pretty much the entire side of the map that she's facing, like very, very far. Like if she's in the middle, she can hit the corner. That's about the size of the hitbox. So if she's in one corner and she's facing you, you can go to the other corner and you'll be safe. But yeah, if you see her starting to like take in breath, you want to run like hell to get to the other side of her.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. And then the other modes have other different challenges. There's one where she summons a bunch of hearts that explode if you get too close to them. So you can trigger them very easily by just stepping close to them and then stepping away again. But there's a bunch of them that spawn at the same time. And the main thing is if you really panic, then you can start getting hit by a lot of them, and then you end up dying. And the other thing she does is she summons a mirror. And if the mirror is up for too long, so you have to... If you see the mirror, you have to nuke it down super fast. If it stays up too long, it will seduce you, and you'll basically just get locked walking a certain way with no way of immuning that or getting out of it until she kills you. And if she kills you, then she heals for like 30% of her HP or something.
Oh,
so
shoot.
that one can completely destroy your run. You'd be like, oh, I'm down to my last 2 lives, but she's almost dead, and then she seduces you, and like boom, her HP just like shoots up, and you're like, okay, now that run is over, right?
Yeah.
And the other thing is that the mirror tends to be close to her, and if she hits you in that mode, she seals you for a while, so you can't use any skills. So you have to be careful that she doesn't get to swipe you in that mode. Another form has a big damage reflect. It gets a giant red shield around her. You don't want to hit her at all during that. It's the strongest damage reflect that exists in a game, and even just tagging her with like a basic attack will one-tap you. It's just very important that you don't hit her during that. And the other attack she does during that phase is that she does a Zombify, which is also the strongest Zombify in the game. Typically Zombifies is like the black skull over your head means that your healing only does 50%. But the Zombify from Queen is actually, it heals you for negative amount of the potion you're using. So if you use any potion, you just kill yourself. So you have to make sure that you either use, and I don't know if Cygnus has this skill. Do you have any kind of will skill in the 4th job that blocks incoming CCs? Like, is there a will of the Cygnus or Queen's...
Call of Cygnus? Or...
yeah, anything that has like that ridiculously long cooldown and like up to level 5 that blocks CC. Do you have that? It might be a special skill that you have to get if you don't innately have it, but...
Actually,
no,
is it 4th job?
Okay, no, apparently you guys don't have that. No, so you would have to get the Urda's will. I don't know if you have that one in your V matrix. I don't know if you saved that one. No, there's like Urda's will, which basically looks like a big blue leaf that's like behind a white outline character that will have the same function. So you have to either use that skill after that Zombify hits you, or you use your iframe when you see the animation of her going to use the skill, and then you can immune the skill if your iframe is long enough. But that's all about like seeing the animation, knowing when it's going to happen, knowing which phase she's in, knowing which attacks you can expect. So there are like huge breakdown videos that go through all of this. or you can go in blind once and just get your world rocked, and then kind of figure out that there's a lot to learn.
Yeah.
But you do for Queen, for example, like you can figure out everything about Phase 1 Queen, but then as soon as her head starts spinning and she goes into another mode, you can be completely lost again. So yeah, do like a combination of research and a combination of figuring it out. If you do like bossing, like myself, you'll like the failure, you'll like being able to learn more and getting better every time and getting further, and then having one setback and then being like, I know I can do this and I'm working hard next time. You do have the 30-minute entry for the actual runs, but you do have up to 5 practice runs I think you can do per day, so that's a lot of practicing between those 4 bosses that you can do.
Yeah.
Yeah, for TB it would be better to iframe probably, especially since the value of matrix slots this early on is very, very high because you have limited access. It's more something, yeah, that Nova skill is more like something that you use for Hard Hilla or something when you enter, so you can immune the cage so you don't get caged by her, and then you can set up your damage if you have enough damage to burst her down, for example. But that skill in general has good utility there. So it blocks incoming CC, or if you're already hard CC'd, it can so it cleanses CC and it keeps you immune for like the next 3 seconds, I believe. But in some hard CCs you can't use it actively when you're CC'd, but you can use it to block that same CC, which is a little bit counterintuitive. But like I don't know if you've ever tried Hard Hilla and you've gotten caged by her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
think I got carried in that just to get the pet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So if you go in and you would use the Nova, or you would use an iframe with a sufficiently long time frame, you could immune getting caged by her and then just fuck her up, just destroy her. That is like a possibility for later in the game when you're.
And that skill is a V skill, right?
Yeah. It should be Urda's will, or Will of Urda, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I have it yet.
No, it's a one of those blue skills. It looks like a blue leaf. But it's one of the common skills. So together with Urda Nova, which is the Urda Bind, so those and the Urda Shower, like those are the Urda skills, is what everyone has access to.
Okay.
Yeah. So I would start with the ones that you can do, and then kind of slowly work your way up to the higher level ones that are technically under the list of things you can do, but that might be a little bit further out of your reach because of your stage in the game. But hopefully after today we can start setting you up with more specifically with things to do on top of this to get you upgrading and working in that general direction.
Yeah.
Okay, so we talked about Legion, links, dailies, and making money. And you see that Maple Tour is also on here. There's also a link. So for all of these things also, there's like a video. Like Maple Tour has a link to a YouTube video on how to get, how to do all of that, how to pick it up. There's like a link to the income charts and everything. For all of the bosses that matter, there are links. So you can kind of just check out the boss wiki page to get some more information if you need. Because this all is going to come down. And once you get to CRA and above, a lot of it for bossing, and that's why this one talks about immunity, boss damage, and IED especially. That's when the IED is going to start being pretty important. And I don't know, because if you try like leveling and like training for now, IED is completely irrelevant. Boss damage is, completely irrelevant. Elite bosses maybe will die a little bit faster, elite monsters, but eventually they die too. So basically the way I explain it is that the IED is basically like the crit rate and boss damage is basically like the critical damage. Because if you don't have enough of this, then this doesn't apply, and it's the same way for critical rate and critical damage. Maybe they should be in the opposite order for that reason, but whatever. Does IED and like monster defense, are you aware of how that works exactly?
I actually do not know how that works.
Do you play any other video games that has like armor and armor pen and stuff?
I guess I only play like League of Legends.
Yeah, so you have like armor pen, right? And you have
armor
and what is the physical armor called?
Oh shit, I forgot to.
It's like it's just.
I was gonna say lethality, but it's not lethality.
There's like physical defense. If you buy like an armor for physical incoming damage, what is it? AD?
Yeah, it's for AD. Yeah.
What is the armor for AD called? Is it just armor?
Yeah, it's just called armor. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's just called armor pin. Yeah.
Yeah, so basically bosses have armor, and you as a player, you have to build armor pen. That's basically what it is. So the armor that the bosses have is called PDR, which stands for physical damage reduction. And then the armor pen that you have is IED, which stands for ignore enemy defense.
All right.
So that's basically how it works. So the way that you know from how it works in League is that if you build full pen, then all of your damage is going to go through, but your damage is going to be shit, right? And if you build full damage, then you'll have huge damage numbers, but none of it is going to go through because you don't have any pen. So it's all about hitting that sweet spot between the two to optimize your damage on the target. And depending on how much armor your target has, there's going to be a different point that's optimal. Now, luckily, the armor in the bosses in the game is completely progressive. So just the higher the level the boss, the harder the boss, the bigger their armor is. So you don't have to like think about switching like mid progression to like weaker stuff here or higher stuff there to optimize. You just want to in general be growing towards getting more and more IED. And then the CRA bosses, the first 3 door, to give you an example, they have 100% PDR, so 100% armor, which basically means that if you have 0 pen, you do 1 damage, because that's like the lowest amount you can do. But essentially, you do 0% of your damage. And then, so for every percentage of your, if it's just 100% armor, like on those 3 bosses, for every 1% IED you get, you deal 1% more of your final damage until theoretically, if you hit 100%, then you would deal your full damage.
Right.
Yeah. So once
is it just called ignore defense on your stat window?
Yes, I believe it's called ignore defense. Yeah, on the top right side.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we'll get into that. So there's a lot to cover here. So basically, once you get to the bosses like Vellum, the 4th boss from CRA, that guy has 200%. So that means you need even more IED to get the same amount of defense going through, right? So let's say you have 50%. If you're killing 3 door, then 50% of your damage is not going through. You have 50% damage reduction, so you deal half your damage. If you have 50% IED on Vellum, who has 200% armor, then you ignore 50% of the 200%, which is 100%. So you're still left with 100%. So you deal 0% again. So progressively, you need way, way, way more. So that's also taken into account in the progression. Well, progression, what is that? In the progression grid. I don't know if you've seen this one.
Nope, I haven't seen that one.
Link you that as well. Basically, this one tries to look at like how strong do you want to be in all of the stages of the game. What does that mean content-wise? Like what can you do content-wise? And basically, it's just for all of the metrics in the game, how high do you want to aim on all of these? So this is also linked to the dailies and the weeklies, right? Like if you fit all of these metrics within these levels, then you can do all of the dailies and all the weeklies within that level. And then basically your level becomes your indicator of how strong you are. Because historically, we could always use the damage range to see how strong you were. But because most of the sources that give you damage are now they don't show up in the damage range at all, it's actually impossible to use that metric for anything very useful. You can still use it as like a personal goal, like I want to hit 1 mil, I want to hit 5 mil, I want to hit 10 mil. But that's all that'll be. It won't really be a good indicator if you can do something. The best indicator will be practice and will be all of these metrics. So the IED we're talking about here, so this bases on basically how much defense, how much PDR do the bosses have around this level that you want to be killing, and then and how much do you realistically have access to so that you don't go overboard, right? So you don't get out of balance, getting too much penetration, but then not enough damage to make the damage go through. So this tries to kind of keep track of that. However, this number, and now it gets really fun, this number is not the number that you see when you open up your stat window. The reason for that is that the number that you see in the stat window is the number that the game calculates for you, saying like regardless of what skill you use and regardless of what target you're hitting, this is how much ignore defense you will get from the game. However, like I just implied, like that does not take into account skill-specific buffs for IED or boss debuffs, right? Because you can imagine like if you have visually in your screen 90% IED, but the target that you're hitting has like a huge debuff on it, you will actually be hitting higher IED-wise. and it will matter if that debuff on the boss has 100% uptime, or if it's just something you can only use situationally for like 10 seconds every 2 minutes. That will matter a lot. So every class has some sources of IED that won't show up there, but it'll vary. Some classes will only have like 1 or 2 sources, and then that's it. And other classes will have like 6 of them. So depending on the class, that'll vary a little bit. Now, I believe that your case is pretty simple. The only thing I think you can have is if your boost nodes go over level 40, and we'll get into the matrix in a little bit. Or if you have the link skill, and that goes back to this one, for the Explorer Mages, which should be around here. So that will be like this link skill that gives you damage and IED. And that one has 100% uptime, so that's why it's worthy of mentioning. And I think if you build lightning stacks, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say like I have a passive that says each lightning charge grants 9% IED.
Yeah, is that wait, 9%?
It's a passive. It's a passive.
And you can go up to 3 stacks, or what?
I think so. It's either 3 or 5.
Well, can you build the stacks on monsters really quickly and open up your window and then see how that increases? Right, because now you have 51, right? So we already know that if you're going to be attacking a CRA boss, it's going to be it's going to be tricky. You're basically losing half your damage, even though like functionally.
Oh, I gotta activate the buff.
Yeah, you gotta apply the little blue guy.
Okay, it's 3 then.
Yeah, 56, 60, 75. Yeah.
So yeah, it's just 3.
Okay, yeah. Oh yeah, now you're up to 73. Yeah. No, it's 5 stacks, right, on the left. That's the 3 is the minutes.
Oh no. Okay.
Yeah. See, so it's quite a good buff for you. So you're already up to 73%. So that's a good innate buff. So it's good to know how big that percentage is, so that when you're starting to really calculate, like, okay, where am I actually at, that you calculate this in as long as you have 100% uptime on it. Because that's why I make the distinction between visual IED and functional IED. Visual is like, what does the game say that you have? And functional is, what do you know that you have, when regardless of what you're hitting. Because if you're in a boss fight, like, the game doesn't know what you're hitting, but if there's only one boss in the map and it has 100% debuff, obviously that's always going to apply, right? So you kind of have to, that's when you have to start doing some maths. It's good to know just the basics and know that more stuff applies for now, but we will definitely be taking this into account, because we have to make sure that your IED is high enough so that your damage goes through. So if you check for IED, what we'll mainly be looking for, oh, and one extra thing. So that's why the link to the boss also exists, because it'll show you what level the boss is and also what the PDR is right here under defense.
Oh, you just click on it?
Yeah. So this link, this will show you like how much do you need to worry about your IED on these bosses.
Oh, okay. So the Zekimo arms only have 20%, right?
Yeah, this is for easy, I think, but for normal, because all the pieces are different, right? Normal has 40%, right? So even if you have your 70%, that means you're ignoring like 28, so there's still 12% damage reduction. But, you know, the total HP is only 700,000, so these things are just melting, right?
Yeah.
But when you look at Chaos Akum, for example, these things have 50%. That's not that much more, but they have 10.5 bill HP each. So that's going to start getting a little bit trickier.
Yeah.
And the later bosses basically all have 300%. So that's why, so you have 300% and you will get, you know, access to more sources of IED. So that's why this number will go up more and more and more. Because the way you can think about it, right? Like, let's say that you have 80% and you're attacking your CRA bosses, 80% of the 100% gets ignored, so you have 20% damage reduction. That's kind of painful, but not like horrible. If the boss has 300% and you block 80%, now you have 60% damage reduction. So you're only doing 40% of your damage, and the boss has like trillions of HP. That's not going to go over too well. So you do want to keep going forward with that. So we'll basically be trying to aim to get functionally to try to get close to this. Typically 90 is like acceptable. The thing is that Helix usually doesn't start coming in until here. This number might go down a little bit, honestly. But there is some extra access. And basically, if you look at the ID command, there is a... I'm going really fast, I'm realizing. Stop me at any time when it's like too much or you can't follow.
Oh, no, you're good, bro. I'm understanding it.
Okay, so for ID, and I'll link you this one, but this is all in the commands as well, so you can always look back at this at any time. This is basically a list of all of the more popular ID sources. I haven't specifically organized them in order of like importance or order of appearance. I could do that. But one of the main ones that'll be very useful for you is this number 8 here, the familiars and the badge effects. And the reason for that is that there's nothing else really at this point that familiars can give you, specifically when you're bossing, that is very important. But it can, and it's very easy to get one badge to unlock a second familiar, and then get 2 familiars. That will take a little while. You'll have to open quite a lot of familiars. Basically, familiars. Do you know anything about familiars? Sorry, I'm gonna go.
They changed it right recently because that was a book now, but it's like something else.
Yeah, it was the Codex, and now it's the Roro something.
Yeah. All I remember, all I know is I got the
manager,
the one that increases drop rate, the little bug.
Yeah, the spider. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the only one I got back then. But other than that, I don't know like anything else.
So you have the... Do you have the spider still?
Let me see. How do you open it up?
Usually I just open the equip window and then double click it on the bottom right. Yeah.
Oh yeah, 3 cards or something. I don't know how this works.
Yeah, so you see you have the first slot available, and then the other 2 are disabled, right?
Yeah.
So if you click on badges under the 3rd tab, 4th tab, sorry, and then go to lists, you can see all of the available badges, and if you unlock one of these badges, you'll be able to get... So the first one on the top left, the starter badge, that's the easiest. Actually, no, the oppressor badge is the easiest to get. These 3... Oh, you already have one of them. So if you get the other 2 cards by just going to the area killing monsters, and you double-click the card to get it into your collection, then it'll light up here, and if you have all 3 lit up, then if you go into the equip tab, it'll show you that oppressor badge, and it'll be clickable and applicable. And because you have one badge applied, it'll give you a quest on the bottom left of your screen where the Roro thing is. It'll give you an extra quest there to unlock the second slot of for a second familiar. If you want to get the 3rd one as well, you need 10 of these badges, so that takes way more work. But the 2 badges, that's pretty easily accessible. And if you have 2 accessible and you just open up, so if you go to collection and then click on the individual familiars there, you can see which ones are the old ones. They already have their potential, it's already revealed, right? On the left, you can see their stats. But some of the other ones, if you click on them, you probably don't have them revealed yet, I imagine. Yeah, see, there's still a question mark. So if you just click the question mark and click reveal, you'll be able to see what potential lines they have. And then you have an epic one, I see, the pig. That's still a potentially really good one.
Oh.
Yeah, this could have some... unlucky, dude.
Oh, damn.
Unlucky. But yeah, so with every familiar in the beginning, all you'd want to do is just that. You want to reveal all their potential.
Okay.
And then hopefully, you get one with 15% IED. That's what you're looking for.
So any of these can get it, or...
Yeah, so I have a specific familiar guide under !familiars. It goes into all the details of what are all the numbers, and at the bottom there's some links. One of them looks at what are the easiest badges to get. One are the what are all of the outcomes on all of the tiers of potential, because it doesn't matter anymore like before, which familiar it is. All that matters is what tier the familiar is. That is what fully determines what the possible outcomes are. So there's there's a list of so on average I think it takes 60 to 80 or something to get one with IED. So if you want to get 2 of them, you're looking at 150 to 200 cards.
Oh, so you just keep opening, unlocking the potential, right? And
Yeah, so if you've got cards on another character, what you can do is just put them in storage and then pick them up on this one, and then just reveal them all. One thing that you can do extra here is if you press the little lock on the top right, and then click on the... Oh yeah, you have the familiar already locked, yeah. So the drop rate doesn't stack with each other. It only stacks with like a special unique line that's, you know, let's not get into the exceptions. Because you won't be getting that probably ever. It's like super rare. But like only one of these will apply. So technically you could get rid of the other two spiders. You can also lock them if you want to. But yeah, any familiar you click now will get a little lock like this one so that you can't accidentally extract it or use it for fusion. So that's to make sure that...
And these never run out, right? You can just have one card and it's good forever?
Yeah, the card itself will just stay in here forever until you either extract it or use it for fusion, yeah.
Okay. Makes sense.
So if you go to extraction here and you select the ones that are just shitty that you want to get rid of, there is a select all button, but again, yeah, that one has the... If you haven't properly locked, that one has the risk of selecting things you don't want. But what you could do here is just select the ones that you don't want anymore and then extract them, and then you'll get some points that you can use in the shop in this UI.
Okay. So I can just select all like that?
Yeah, you could do that if you wanna extract all of these, if you're okay with that. Or if there's some that look really cool and you want to keep them, or if you wanna you know, I don't think there's any... As long as you keep one spider, I think you're fine because the other ones don't stack. I would keep I'd keep probably just 2 extra that have some defense. Or at least 1 extra that has more defense. If you hover over them, you can see if they have some defense. I don't know.
This one has 2% defense.
Yeah, so I don't mean the potential in the thing itself, but just the one on the bottom right where it says attack and defense.
Oh, okay.
That one determines how much. Yeah, so those older ones have 2.
Well, all these ones have 1, right? Just the
Yeah, the
ones?
spider on the bottom. The spiders on the bottom have 2, because they're old familiars, so that I don't know, they're like a little bit different. I don't know.
Oh, so should I just keep them?
Yeah, probably keep 1 or both of them if you want, and you can extract the other ones.
So how do you lock them again?
The little lock on the top right.
Oh, okay.
Boom. Yeah, see, now it's locked. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you have to click like exactly on the lock.
Yeah.
The hitbox is not great for that. Yeah.
And then I can extraction.
Yeah. And then you can click them individually here, or you can click select all and then extract, and then here, hold escape if you click OK. Like click OK and then hold escape, otherwise your game might freeze and even crash. Yeah,
oh.
There you go. Yeah, I think if you go back in now, I think they'll be extracted. No, you pressed escape a little bit too early, I guess. Click OK and then click on hold escape right after.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, and now if you go to shop on the last tab, you can see that you got some extra points there. So you have 160 now. And that's the currency that you can spend in here. So you can use the familiar essence to refill your summon gauge if you run out. It resets when the day resets, but it runs out as you have your familiar summoned. And it will tick down slower if the familiars that you have summoned have more defense. So that's why we looked at the defense of the familiar.
Okay.
And then the booster pack gives you just like 3 random familiars there's a chance to get there's a very good chance to get rare, and there's some chance to get epic, but it's 2,000 points, so that's not going to come into play until much later, until you have a lot of familiars lying around. But yeah, for now it's mainly just going to be having the spider when you're mobbing, and trying to get the IED familiars when you're bossing.
All right.
Yeah, if you get anything with what is anything that you could get that's like relevant? I guess if you get anything with healing or something, that could be useful, but all the other ones you can basically just extract like we just showed. Yeah, so that's going to be a lot of IED. If you can get that, that'll be very, very helpful. The other stuff will be possible link skills, and that will kind of depend on how quickly you get to those characters. But again, you can go back to the link skill grid, right, and the Legion grid to see.
Yeah.
Just find the stat and then drop down, boom, and then you can see which ones have which, see if they overlap with something useful, and then pick those first. The other stuff that people sometimes do temporarily is get one line of ID on weapon, secondary, or emblem. And those are like pretty important when it comes to potential, but we'll get into that in a little bit. I think for now that's probably, yeah, I'm trying to like condense the most important stuff for you, because we could probably talk for like 6 hours and I could keep...
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why I have these commands, so that people can also just like read up on most of it on their own time, and then, you know, if there's still a question afterwards, like I can always divulge, but or expand on things, but then at least you have most of it should already become somewhat clear. I think the other thing that we would mainly have to look at for now is your matrix.
The V matrix?
Yeah, because 5th job, it can be pretty daunting when you first start off with it.
Yeah, I kind of just... Because I kind of came back when they announced more 5th job skills, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of have all of it, just like mostly just 5th job skills. I don't know like what the triple thing means, like the skills.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, so V matrix is basically like a buffet of skills. You get to choose which ones you want and which ones you don't want. You start off with 5 slots. Every 5 levels you get an extra slot. You can buy up to 2 extra slots. Those are those brown locks. You're basically just paying to borrow them early. You won't get an extra slot when you reach the next 5 levels, but you'll just get the access to buy the next one if you want. But then you're constantly buying it forward. So that can be, you know, viable if it's like your 3rd or 4th character and you have like a bunch of money and you just want to get strong quickly. And your first character is not very advisable. Usually you just equip your 4 V skills, because those are typically disproportionately incredibly strong. Some will be better in mobbing and some will be better at bossing, and then sometimes you switch some out, but usually that's the way to go. Every time you level, you also get a matrix point. You see you still have 2 matrix points available. You see the slot enhancement that's lit up?
Yeah.
If you click that, you'll be able to level up your slots, so that's another way to get stronger nodes without actually having to level them up. So for now, you're kind of spreading the levels over different slots. I think it would be best to click reset here.
Reset.
How much is it? 1 mil? Yeah, I would do that. And you want to make sure that you level up just 1 slot at a time. That's typically way more efficient. So I would just click 2 slots and just level those up to level 5. Doesn't really matter which ones. All it will matter is which nodes we end up equipping in those slots. But where those leveled up slots are doesn't matter at all.
Oh, so I can just... Anything right here I can just level up?
Yeah, just level it up all the way to 5. Just level 2. Yeah, you can do it with enter. If you just click and then hold enter, it'll basically just like... Brrr, there you go.
Yeah,
and then you can do... and just do 1 more slot and get the other one to 5 as well. There you go. And just remember every time you level to just quickly jump back in here and level up your next slot 1 more. Because... So basically there's 2 ways to get those... Yeah, so you get to pick which skills. Let's do that first. So you have the skill nodes, the blue ones. You have the boost nodes, the gray ones, I guess we call them. And then you have the special nodes, the purple ones. You might have seen those. Yeah, they usually end up in the final tab. Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, so what the gray ones are the most common. The skill nodes are a little bit more rare, and then the purple nodes are the most rare. And they extract for more shards when you extract them at the node guy. So this screen has like 2 modes. There's like this mode that you open from your V matrix yourself, and then there's the screen that you can open when you go talk to the node. I don't know what it's called. I say node guy, but like in Vanishing Journey, there's a guy there, right?
Yeah, the guy. Yeah.
Yeah, so he has the same... It looks the same UI, but you have access to completely different functions there. So this is where you choose to level up, which slots you level up, which nodes you equip, where you equip them. That's what you do in this thing. The other one you use to disassemble nodes, to level up nodes, and to craft nodes. That's what you do in the other grid. So here, if you click back to my notes, so we can go back to the other one. Ideally, what you want to do in the beginning, so the skill nodes are very important, depending on the situation. And the other thing is for boost nodes, you want to look for what we call tri-nodes, which basically means that all 3 of the skills on the boost nodes are nodes that you want to level up and that are useful for you. In the beginning, that's going to be very hard because you have a lot of variance, right? But after a while, you will get to open a lot more nodes, and there's going to be a higher likelihood that one of those nodes has the right combination of skills for you. So some
Yeah, I've been waiting for the right one. I don't
Mhm.
think I have it yet because I know I'm looking for Annihilate, the Anchor, and I think Typhoon. That's what I'm looking for, but I haven't got that yet.
Yeah, I have wait, let's see if let's check exclamation mark V matrix. Let's see if my
I
thing
think that
says
was
the same. Control F Thunderbreaker because I have a command for that as well, of course.
oh, okay.
Thunderbreaker, Thunderbolt, Annihilate, Gale Typhoon. Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was looking at your chat room like Thunderbreaker, like a sad emoji.
Yeah. And then there's Ascension, Thunder, Shark Sweep for the other one. Yeah, so it seems that one is specifically for bossing, one is more specifically for mobbing. That's like good and bad. Typically early on, that's kind of bad because that means that you have to like choose whether you're going to be like pretty strong in bossing or pretty strong in mobbing, which is annoying. You know, ideally in the beginning you want to be evenly getting better at both. On the other side, it can be really good because that means that if you're mobbing, you just need to use only 2 slots to get your 2 tri-nodes, and then when you're bossing, you also need to use 2, which means you have more access to putting skill nodes in there. And skill nodes are typically very, very good because they give you access to very strong skills. So those are like the pros and cons of that. Yeah, so you basically just look for any node. You're aware of like what it means, like where they're positioned, if that matters. Like within the node.
Does it matter where they're positioned?
Yes, if you hover over a node, and then you look at the 3 skills that are mentioned, whichever one is mentioned first there is the Shark Sweep. That one determines what kind of skill node it is, and you'll see that they're grouped as such, right? You see that they have the skill in the same spot. The one to the left and the one to the right, they both have Shark Sweep in the same spot. So if you go talk to the node guy and you right-click on a node and you want to enhance it, it'll look at all the other nodes that you own that have the same skill in the same spot. So not like the second spot and the third spot, but just like which ones have the same first spot as the one that you right-click that you want to enhance. So once you find your either 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 3 boost node, you right-click that one. All the other ones you can click enhance, and then you will level up your node. And then if you hover over the node, you can see like how much they gain in final damage per level, and then they will just gain that one again. So it'll just get multiplied by the level.
Okay.
So it's 2% per level typically, because that's for 4th job skills, and we typically boost 4th job skills. There's some exceptions, but and the highest one skill can be boosted to is to level 60, so up to 120% final damage, which is a huge amount of damage increase. Yeah. So the ideal way of getting to that is having 2 boost nodes leveled up to 25, which is the highest possible level for a boost node, and have them equipped in a level 5 slot, which we just did. So if you have your boost nodes in the beginning, it's more valuable to put your boost nodes in the leveled up slots, so you can drag those in and switch those with the skill nodes that are in there right now.
Oh, okay. But I don't even know if this is good. So what was the good one? It was like for Thunderbreaker? Because one was for bossing, one's for mobbing, right?
Yeah. So for mobbing, it looks like Ascension, Thunder, and Shark Sweep, but I think Thunder is a skill that's kind of like borked now, isn't it? Or is that Thunderbolt? That was Thunderbolt, actually, I think.
Thunderbolt was the...
Yeah, so it kind of also depends on what map you're on, because the chaining of attacks you use can sometimes... they can like get you on a higher platform sometimes, right? And then you lose your progression through the map, or your rotation through the map. So it's also sometimes, I think for Thunderbreakers, a little bit a matter of like where they like training. But it looks like Ascension, Thunder, and Shark Sweep. If you have that combination, just like whenever you're training, like which skills do you feel like you're using the most?
Okay.
If you can get, you probably won't get 3 out of 3, but if you can get any kind of node that has 2 out of 3, you basically want to equip those in your leveled up slots so that they're immediately level 6, basically. So you don't have to pay all of the nodes to get into level 6. You just equip them in the level 5 slot, and they're immediately 6, so you'll immediately get 12% final damage increase.
Okay. I think the closest one is like a 2 out of 3 one.
Yeah, so you can equip... Yeah, if that's good enough for now. You can drag that
Yes,
one
sir.
in and equip it there. Yeah, I'll probably swap it out, so you'll have to re-equip the skill node.
Yeah.
You can just double click to unequip them. I think so, at least. Yeah, there you go. And then you can.
Oh,
Skill.
so since I have two of these, does it matter which one I put on? Or
No, so you can level up, just like the boost nodes, you can level up the skill nodes as well in the same way, also up to level 25. And it'll, for some of them, it'll give you a great, like a way better effect. Like you'll do way more damage, but for most of them, what it'll do is it'll just do more damage.
okay.
But that's also something you do with the Node Master. Node Master, that's his name. You just right click him and then click Enhance, and it'll show you whatever viable you have. So in the beginning, you don't want to level up nodes too quickly because it might kind of like pigeonhole you into having to find a very specific one node to round out your set of nodes, and you basically reduce the chance of finding the one you want. In the beginning, you mostly want to just, you level up a node here or there, but you don't want to go too crazy until you found your combination of trinodes that fits the, that fits the exact, those are puzzle pieces for your puzzle, basically, right?
Okay.
But yeah, you don't want to have like the 3 pieces already laid down, because then there's like one specific piece that has to fit to finish the puzzle. If you can have all of the variances more open, you have more options, basically.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I was gonna say it. So nodes drop like from mobs, right, in the Arcane River.
Yeah.
Or can you buy them?
Yeah, so the main place of getting them is if you do your Vanishing Journey dailies. If you do those at least twice a week, then you get 3 nodes there. Killing monsters in the Arcane River and event shops. Those are the best places of getting nodes. And they will be high priority for you for event shops. I believe there are some available as well, again, in this rotation. Those will be the most valuable things you can buy when you're still building up your boost nodes and your skill nodes and everything. Those will be super, super important.
All right.
Yeah, so any boost nodes that start with a skill, so you now know what the prime skill is, right? That determines what kind of boost node it is. Any boost node that starts with a skill that you don't want to level at all, you can go to the node master and extract, and then those will give you node shards. And with the shards, you can decide to either make those node stones, those same things that drop, or you can make specific nodes. So you can make duplicates of your skill nodes if you want to level it up, or make a skill node that you don't have access to yet. Or you can make boost nodes, and then you can get to decide which boost node you make, like what is going to be the first skill, but the other 2 will be random. So you can use it as like a Hail Mary to try to get your trinode early on, but that's not really efficient. Or you can use them, and that's typically more efficient, if you have your trinodes and you know which skills you want to get a lot more of to level them up, then you can make those specifically and just feed them to your boost node to level it up more.
Okay.
Yeah, special nodes are typically just extract and get a lot of shards from and don't worry about until you get to like 250 or something. There's like some min-maxy, there's some uses for them much later on, but it's not super relevant right now.
All right.
Yeah, so you already have some things to extract. You'll have some things to enhance. Yeah, in general, if you have like 2 or 3 nodes, that's fine. You can level those up. If you ever get your perfect trinode and it has the same top skill, because you can't use 2 boost nodes at the same time that have the same top skill. So if you try to equip another one that has like Thunderbolt or Ascension first, it'll just tell you that you can't do that. You can only equip one of those at a time. But if you find the other one that is a perfect try, and this one is already a level 6 or something, you can just go to the node master and make sure you unequip this one first, and then just right click on your trinode and then feed the level 6 to the level 1, and it'll transfer over all of the efficiency.
Oh, okay, makes sense.
Yeah. If you ever level one up and you'd end up not using that one, you have to extract it. The efficiency on how many shards you get back is severely lower than if you extract individual skill nodes, so or individual boost nodes, I should say. So that you want to avoid as much as possible. But even if it's up to like level 5 or level 6, it's not too bad. But you don't want to have like a level 60 node that you have to end up extracting. That's like pretty painful efficiency-wise. Yeah. Does it all make sense for the Matrix?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had no idea about this. So
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So you could choose to equip like another 3rd boost node here,
Oh,
or
yeah,
you could throw Yeah, because you have a slot. You could throw
So
in
do these
decent.
stack since they have the same skill in them? Because these both have shark sweep in them as the last one. So do they stack or?
Yeah, so if you, I would equip decent sharp eyes here because that's like the best thing you have access now.
Alright.
And you can just put that on a skill. That gives you 10% crit rate and I believe 8% critical damage, so that's nice. If you close this and you open up your skill window and you go to the 5th job tab, you can see how much everything is getting boosted there. So you can see lightning punch is level 6, ascension is level 12, and if you just hover over it, you can see so 12 is a total, and in bracket the plus 10 that shows like how much is it coming from the grid where you put them in, basically. And it also shows you like what are the effects when you level them up. So at 20 you get +1 target, and at 40 you get 20% ID. That's the boost node ID I was talking about earlier. And on the bottom you can see that the final damage is up for Ascension now. You do 36% more final damage on that compared to what you were doing when you... Before you were doing 4% probably, I think. So now you're doing 36. So you just gain like a third of your damage to that skill if you use it.
Oh, damn.
So that's, yeah. So in that order of magnitude, you're going to probably already see a lot of difference. And then with the sharp eyes, you'll see your crit rate up a lot. And remember, that one is very, very important to get high up. So that's already a good thing to be working on as well. So make sure you put the sharp eyes on a key somewhere so you can know when to refresh it. It has 100% uptime in the beginning, but it has a cooldown. So every time it's available, you can basically just use it to keep 100% uptime. But there's only like 3 seconds overlap. So as you level it, it'll have more overlap. But typically early on, I would not advise to level it up. Because there's way more value for you for leveling up boost nodes and getting all that final damage, which you probably just kind of realized how big that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so making your sharp eyes last a little bit longer versus like percentages of final damage on all your skills. Yeah, that's kind of a no-brainer.
So what
this
should
early
I level? Should I level just like try nodes right now?
Yeah, just keep open. Just get as many nodes as you can, open them all up, and find your perfect your 4 tri nodes. And then once you have those, start leveling those like crazy. Yeah.
Okay.
Basically that.
So what about just the active skills? So I just like try not to level those?
No, if you get any of your skill nodes again, you just go to the node master and you level them up. But you don't specifically make them with your shards. If you get node shards, because you extract like the bad nodes.
So I can level up my shark torpedo because I have another one, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, it won't level up. It gives you like 90%, I think, from level 1, so it'll stay level 1. But then the next one will get it to level 2, and then the next one will get level 3, and the next one get level 4. It'll like show you what percentage the skill currently is on. Or you can see it here, I think. If you click on the V matrix, and then you click on your skill, and then on the right side you can see the percentage that it's on. Okay, see, this one is at 0. Yeah, and if you click on one of your boosts, well, everything will be at 0, I think. Yeah, everything is at 0. Yeah. If you try to extract anything that's over 0, it'll give you a pop-up like, yo, one of the skills you selected to extract is higher than 0. Are you sure you want to extract it? So to make sure that you don't extract any accidentally. Because there's no lock feature like with familiars, so you have to be a bit more careful.
All right.
Yeah, we're at our hour and a half, but I do want to like quickly go through your equips because we haven't really gotten to you probably thought this was going to be mainly about equips, but as you can tell, like all of these pieces, if all of these parts of your account all come together, whatever you're wearing on your character is kind of like the icing on the cake. What we're working on now is like the batter and the the ingredients and the quantities and what is the balance between all the ingredients, rather than what kind of frosting are we going to put on top afterwards. The equips, especially pretty early on, they're going to change around a lot, but this foundation of your Legion and understanding your matrix and how you play the game and what kind of dailies are you doing, those are going to feed into being able to do the other stuff. So most of the equips that we're going to talk about and that are like good, you will find through the through this, basically, like through the dailies, through the bosses grid, and they'll basically be mentioned here, pretty much all of them in this equip tab. Some of them you already have, and we'll just like kind of stress how long will they stay with you and are they very useful, and which ones will change soon, and what are the next sets that are upcoming, basically. But a lot of it will make sense. So I'll go through it pretty quickly, but it'll make sense as long as you kind of keep track of this, of the daily, weekly grid.
Yeah.
Okay, so range we don't look at. Critical rate, so that's very important. We're going to focus on critical rate. So when it comes to your hyper stats, again, we're still not at the equips. When it comes to hyper stats, strength is a flat final amount, which is nice, but again, it's kind of like going into bonus experience in your grid. You want to it's nice if everything else is already highly maxed and in place, but as long as there's room for improvement, realistic room for improvement on the other ones, then that has precedent over going for strength, since it is a final amount that does not get multiplied by your percentage strength. So I would probably redo your hyper stats just to make sure, and especially if you want to boss more, that the focus is to get your critical rate and your ignore defense, try to get those to 10, and then kind of evenly fill out between critical damage, and boss damage the rest of the points. One exception there, of course, is Arcane Power. If you need Arcane Power to be able to realistically kill monsters near your level, then that can have precedent, because of course, without levels, without the damage there, that gives you final damage. And final damage is the only like damage multiplier that's even more important than critical damage, or than facilitating critical damage. So it would be the exception. But I would say critical rate and ID are your important stats there to level up. Maybe not to 10, maybe to 9 or something, kind of depending on your level, right? But those are the definitely the important ones. And if you end up with nothing in strength, then that's fine, because those points will do more good in the other stats.
Okay.
Yeah, we already saw that your boss went up to 72, so you're like 72, nice, that's 15. 15 twice, 28, 15. Oh yeah, I didn't really talk about that, but like, so ID, all of the sources are calculated individually, and basically the percentage of ID line gives you that much of how much you're still missing to get to 100. So if you have 80 and you gain 10%, you gain 10% of the missing 20. So 10% of 20% is 2%, so you go from 80 to 82.
All right.
So that's how it always works. So if you're like at 72 visual, and then you have that's without any invisible sources, and you add the 15% of the familiar twice, so you're going from getting 15 of 28%, which is like roughly 4 point something. So you go to 76, and then you have 24%, and you gain 15%. So that's like 3.6. So you're ending up with like 77, 78-ish. So that's already going quite well in the direction that we want you. So if the ignore defense here goes up a little bit, that might get you closer to 80. Which, you know, for the 3-door, that's already pretty good. And then when we go from 80, hopefully like closer to 90 once we're trying to do the C-Vel. Because that one has a 200% defense. Used to have 300, which was quite a big bump. Yeah. They, yeah, that was probably a good reduction to just kind of ease people into moving forward in the game. So the other thing is that is also in the list of IDs like set bonuses. So typically in this stage of the game, we'll look into seeing if we can get the set bonus for the boss accessory equips off the ground. So you currently have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 set?
Yeah, 7 set, yeah.
And that gives you the 10% ID, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, the 9 set is the 10% boss damage, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is fine. There could be a way of like adding the other to get to 9. I don't know if that's super necessary. What I'll probably work on for you right now is to switch at least that shitty whatever synergy. No, not synergy. That shitty ring that you have from the Silent Crusade, to switch that one out with at least one of the other event rings, probably with either the Cosmos or the Vengeful ring. That would be a good idea.
Is it the bronze cross ring?
Yeah, that one, yeah, because it can't get potential, it can't get Star Force, so it's basically just dead weight.
Yeah.
So one of the event rings will be a huge upgrade.
So how do you get the event rings? Just from...
Yeah, so you get the... yeah, you'll have to look at the event notes. I think you get cotton candy from doing the mini games,
okay.
And then buy the coupon from the store. Yeah.
All right.
like the obvious ones. The really obvious one is getting potential and upgrading. So remember earlier when I talked about WSE, Weapon Secondary Emblem? Those are the really, really important items to upgrade first, or to upgrade more than other stuff, for two main reasons. So the one is that they will stick with you for way longer than all the other items in general, and they also get potential lines that disproportionately give you way more damage increase than all the other items. So that's why those are very important. The reason is that weapon and secondary can both get percentage attack, percentage boss damage, and percentage IED, and the emblem can get percentage attack and percentage IED as well. So the same ones except for the boss damage. So that's why those are like your primary things of upgrading. So if you look at !cubing, gonna have a lot of links and a lot of homework to do after this. Basically, this looks at what is the general order you would want to upgrade things in. So it's basically this. And then this is kind of like, how do you want to tier things up to get to the next rank? Like what is kind of in general the good way of using which cubes just to be money efficient. So you'll see weapon, sub-weapon, secondary, that's the same thing. And emblem, those are like most important first. So that's what you should be focusing on as well.
Wait, do I have a sub-weapon?
Yeah, it's like the weird shiny it's the shiny thing with like wings on top.
Oh,
the blue marble thing. Yeah. And then the emblem. Then is badge and heart. Heart is pretty rare to come across with potential. Badge with potential don't exist anymore either. You still have one, so that's really good. That gives you good benefit early on. Well, not early on. Later on, it gives you good benefit, but it just gives you an extra item that you can get Star Force on, and that you can get stats on. And then is gloves, because they can get critical damage. Remember, critical damage very good, especially if you have your 100% critical rate. And then basically all of your accessories. And the order for these items, 4, 5, and 6, is basically determined by how likely is it to get the stats that you want. Different types of items have different types of lines of potential that most people will refer to as junk lines, which basically is like percentage defense or 4% chance to ignore 10 defense or something like that. And you're like, you know, those things just have no place in this game whatsoever, but some items inherently have more of those lines than others, so that will make those items a lower priority to cube, because it takes you more money to get the same amount of results.
Alright.
That's just a given. Like, you can't really get, like, a shoulder just has a certain pool of certain stats that you can get when you roll a cube. The same way if you reveal a potential the potential on a familiar, depending on what tier the familiar is, it'll just have a different pool of possible outcomes. So that's just how that works. So the emblem and the secondary, you'd want to get those at the level of the weapon at least, and that's where you're going to get the most of your damage, depending on how much money you have.
My emblem doesn't even have potential. So.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, exactly. They don't even have potential yet, right? So there's huge room for growth there. So between that's the gold, the gold emblem and that one, you'd want to probably, together with the weapon, get at least all of 3 of those to unique, and look for at least 2 useful lines. So anywhere and anything that has percentage IED or percentage attack, percentage damage, or percentage strength, any combination of at least having 2 of those stats, I would say, for those 3 items.
And then you need to buy cubes to do those, right?
Yeah, so first you need a potential scroll to give them potential.
Oh, yeah.
And then you probably want to use the stamps to make sure they have 3 lines, and then you want to use the cubes to tier them up at least to unique, yeah. So probably just Master Craftsman cubes all the way, so you can roll. Once they get to unique, you can...
And you can buy those in the shop, right?
Yeah, in the Genesis shop you can buy those, yeah.
Okay.
Unless there's some kind of cube sale or something, then you might want to buy other types of cubes. But in general, you want to Master Craftsman cubes for now. And as you do more bosses, you'll get those drop more as well, so they'll just help you upgrade. Yeah, so if you can get like 9% attack and I don't know, like 3% all stat, or you can get just 9% attack at first, you know, if you get something good, then just move on to the next item until they all 3 kind of get up to that level. Right? You don't want to like overspend on one item and then miss out on a bunch of potential upgrade on another item, just to get a little bit stronger, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah, if you get like 3% all stat and 15% IED together, that's probably not good enough. You want to have one of those lines at least try to be weapon attack, because those are that's going to be the huge increase of damage. So between your boost nodes, Legion and Lynx, and getting these 3 items in order, that's already going to be a huge, huge increase. So the event ring, the other stuff that you can get, trying to see what makes sense in the short term. Yeah, so the Golek stuff doesn't come into play usually until much later, but you have some stuff from before, right? The ring is really nice, of course, but the ring actually only starts being good once the set bonus comes in. So if you have room to get like a second event ring, you could also just replace your either your ring, your superior ring, replace it with that, or you can replace the Silver Blossom ring, but then you'd also have to replace like the pendant to keep the 7 slot, the 7 set bonus awake.
Okay, it makes sense.
Kind of depends on which way you want to go. There is an event right now with 30% off Star Forcing. I don't know how much money you have laying around right now.
I do not have much on it.
Oh no, that's the 30 mil? That's what you have right now?
Yeah, 30 mil, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so that's not like a time to work on that, okay. Yeah, with Ursus and with Maple Tour, you'll get a steady stream of income, and then adding the boss crystals that we talked about, and just training in general just gives you decent money as well. Make sure you always have your spider out when you're doing that. That will give you a decent amount of money. Oh, when you check your Legion, I saw in the picture that you had 200 coins. Make sure that you pick those up regularly, because there's like a cap on how many coins you can get from the Legion.
How do you pick them up? I was always wondering, like, just like, is there like a...
Oh, okay, yeah, so there's a daily for that as well. If you go into town, or you don't have to go into town actually. If you check the light bulb, there's 2 Legion quests.
Is it the gold light bulb?
Yeah, it's daily. Oh wait, maybe you have to talk to the NPC the first time.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's in town. The appropriation should be to the right a little bit. Oh yeah, right underneath you there, yeah. Oh, you have them in progress already. See the whip of whelps and the golden wyvern, or wyvern. So what you do is where you go to Legion to your board, and then on the right side you click raid.
Oh, start raid.
Yeah, and then you'll be fighting the raid dragon. And the raid dragon is the one that gets yeah, you can do it now. You can exit at any moment. Basically you'll see your coins on the top left. That's those 200. And those are accumulated by your characters here that are picked in your Legion grid, that are active on the board. Those are like passively constantly fighting this dragon. And what they're doing is they're fighting the like pink bar on top that you see. If you attack the dragon right now, you will take HP off the gold part of the bar. So you can help your team kill it faster and get more coins as a result. And these are the wyverns that you have to kill in this special map to do the daily quest as well, for up to 30 extra coins a day. And when your Legion isn't really terribly built yet, that's a good idea to do that, just those 30 a day. And you should get quest progress in the middle of the map if you do kill them. But they are quite strong if you're at this level, so getting stronger will help you.
Take the 200 coins if I kill them?
So those 200, those are already yours. If you exit the map,
retreat.
Wait, are you not able to kill these? They're quite strong, I guess.
Oh, I mean, I don't think so.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
oh, yeah, you already have 55. Yeah, you already did this. See? Yeah, you're already halfway there. So if you complete these, you get those extra 30, and if you click retreat here, you'll get whatever is the amount of coins on the top left. It'll just empty out that bar. So if you deal more damage here to the dragon, you'll see your damage counter go up. Yeah, Dame Appropriation here, if you click her, she'll give you those coins. See, you have like 200. Bam, and you pick them up. So,
and then,
yeah. And then you can spend them with the other guy. Yeah. You also need coins to rank up your Legion, though. So if you're going to do that thing that we talked about and you just flood your account with level 60s, you will also need to keep enough coins to be able to buy the upgrades to the next level. And that will, if you're leveling up quickly and making a lot of characters, you'll be needing a lot of coins for that. So that's like in short term, that's an investment that sets you back, and you won't be able to buy many coupons. But in the long term, you'll get way more passive income from coins, and that bank of 200 will go up. So once you're at the point where I am, the passive Legion power will go up based on your level and the star force on the characters that are in the grid. So I don't know how much you had, but so this is the amount of damage that gets dealt every second. And then for every 100 billion damage, you get 1 coin. So where you have 23 mil there. So if you keep building it up, you can get to this point, and then you can get like so I can build up to 700 coins, but this that means I have to pick it up at least every 30 hours or something. Otherwise, it just already overcaps. So I have to pick it up at least once a day. So then your passive income is so high that you could just build out, basically buy all the coupons you want. But in the beginning, you're going to have to skimp a little bit on buying coupons because otherwise you won't be able to buy the rank ups when it's available to put the extra characters in to keep like snowballing, to get to that snowball point.
Where do you buy the rank ups? Is it just in the shop?
It's with Dame Appropriation, the NPC right next to him. She'll have like an option if you click on her talk, there'll be like raise your Legion rank. So right now it'll tell you need to be 1500, which is close, but you see the next rank up is 140 already. So even with like 2 or 3 more rank ups, your coins will be gone if you spend them too quickly. And you never want to be like waiting on buying your rank up, because in general, you know, short term it sucks, but long term that's where you get the gains from that.
Okay.
Okay, how do we get in here? Oh yeah, for the dailies for your coins, yes. So there's other items in there. There's like e-pots in there and stuff, but I wouldn't buy all of those yet. I would focus more on the
just
on the rank ups for now. Yeah, on the upgrades for now. So symbol dailies, those are super important. Trying to find a party or something pre-quest to start doing choo-choo. That's a lot of stat, and that's going to give you more arcane power. That increases your final damage in the in the arcane river on the monsters.
I should do because I can barely kill the monsters there, you know.
Yeah, and in the beginning it's going to be rough. Either you have to do easy, the easy PQ mode and the easy kill mode, or you have to rely on either a guild or buddies, or you can ask in my chat to be like, hey, does anyone want to do Mudo together? I have a guide for Mudo as well on like all the recipes. It's under exclamation mark choo choo. There's 2 little guides in there actually. I see. I'll link those to you. There you go. Look into those. Read up on that first, and then you can have a bunch of extra information to be able to do those PQs as well. Once you have enough arcane power, that will get way faster. And then you can, carry more of your own weight. And then once you get to like 220 and your gear is all getting better and better, you'll probably be able to completely solo it and just blow through the daily.
And you only get arcane power due to like the dailies, right?
Well, you can technically also get the symbols as drops in the areas, but they're very rare. So that's not a reliable way of getting it. So the one way is that you get arcane power from the guild buff. Then there's hyperstats, of course, and then there's building up your symbols. Sometimes there are temporary like titles and event skills, but yeah, again, those are also very unreliable.
Yeah.
Okay, so the other thing will be just to get potential in everything you have and make sure that it's all rolled for 3% strength. I don't know if you have done that with most of your items.
Actually haven't. Well, some of them, like my weapon just has 6% attack. That's the first one.
Yeah, that's really good. That's definitely a really good start. But once you get your income, you definitely want to, once you have some items that are already unique, you want to make sure that your weapon, secondary, and emblem, that those are like the highest tier among all your stuff, because those are going to be disproportionately giving you way more damage.
Yeah, but I should also make sure like all my other items have like potentials, right, and like have decent things.
Yeah, so your shoes are like fine for now, for example. Like as an example, those are okay. Like the flames can get much better because it doesn't have flame advantage. I advise you to look at the flame video. That's because what I just said is probably not gonna mean much to you. But like flame advantage and all that stuff. But yeah, I'm trying to make sure we don't go super overtime here because we're already a little bit overtime. Yeah, but the shoe's fine for now. Like, once you want to focus on a weapon, secondary, and emblem first. Like the cape, if you want to keep this one, is okay. But I would use occult cubes to see if you can get at least 3% strength on there. Get potential on the power crystal. Roll for 3% strength.
So I should make sure like all of them have strength, at least strength, right?
Sorry, what did you say?
I should make sure all of them at least have strength on them.
Yeah, exactly. Like the top, you throw a bunch, throw like a few Master Craftsman cubes out there. Try to get at least one line of percentage strength. Yeah, that's like the starting point. Yeah,
And that would increase my damage by a lot.
yeah, because if there's like 10 items and all of them gain 3% strength, you have 30% strength. Like it's really strength in numbers, just like with your Legion. Just adding a bunch of small characters, it really all adds up. And that's a good foundation to get a lot stronger. Then you can start killing the monsters and the bosses faster, and then you can start setting higher demands for the items, basically.
All right.
If you have any flames, I would put them either on your top or on your cup. Those have right now the best potential for increases in damage.
All right.
And yeah, you want to reroll the badge as well, of course, right? 9% dex would be nice. Ruined for the fact that your main stat is strength, actually. And that's another reason why the badge is so high up here with the heart is because they have almost no junk lines. So they are the cheapest one to get good lines on. So that's also a good thing to keep in mind. The glove, 75 strength, very nice. Now you just need some strength on the potential. So it's mainly going to be like killing and doing those daily bosses. You get a lot of occult cubes from that, and those are very cheap ways of re-rolling your potential. So for the hat would be flame. The main thing to do on the hat would be flaming, but after the top and the cup.
All right.
Monocle probably would be better to also try to use occult cubes to roll if you can get 7% strength at least. But
so
again,
you get like bosses, right?
Sorry, what did you say?
Yeah, the occult cubes from bossing.
Yeah, from bossing and from elite monsters and also from elite bosses. Those purple boxes, those give a lot of them as well. The pants are fine, right? The flame is pretty good. The Star Force is already there. The 6% strength on epic, so that one's fine. The pendant, not sure. Depends on if you want to switch that over, right? If you want to go for the 2 event rings or not.
Yeah, I think I'm about to go for that.
Yeah, if you do want to switch this one out, best thing to switch out for would be a Mechanator pendant from Arcarium. I don't know if you've unlocked that boss already.
I think I don't know. I actually never did that boss.
It's the Silent Crusader, the Silent Crusade questline. So what you have that ring from? If you continue that one, you'll basically be fighting like a story mode of Arc eventually. And once you kill that story mode and you complete the like 1 or 2 quests after that, and you get like a chapter completed pop-up, then you can start doing Arc every day as well. And from him you can get the Machinator pendant. He's a pretty annoying boss though, so be warned for that. He does like full screen one-shot attacks, really fun, very interactive mechanics.
Okay.
Yeah, and the ring, and then the event rings, and possibly this ring. Yeah, just try to get potential on all of them, and 3% stat. I would hold off on the, well, so if you're going to do normal Magnus, if you're going to try doing that every day, there's a good chance that you get a shoulder to drop with potential. And if that happens, it's probably better to just switch it out and Star Force that one, because Star Forcing up to 10 is very cheap, but potential scrolls and stamps for multiple lines and everything can actually be way more expensive early on. So it might even be better to just hold off a little bit on this one, put it a little bit lower on the list, and then just wait like a few days of doing normal Magnus, and then see if you get a drop with potential already. That could save you some money.
Okay, and the shoulder drops from normal, right?
Yeah, it can also drop from easy, but it's a very, very low drop rate, so I would just do normal. And if normal is too much for now, don't worry. And also don't do easy, because easy is just like a waste of time. Just spend more time on either training or doing the important dailies, getting nodes, getting symbols, and working on boss crystals and getting potential and all the other stuff first, and then just circle back to the boss. You typically don't want to do the stuff below your level too much.
Okay.
Yeah, in general, but of course there are exceptions to all of that. But
all right.
Yeah, so for every piece of equip, I guess it would be more obvious now what you need to work on there, right?
Yeah, so try to get at least like 3 lines in there, like with at least being my main stat, you know?
Yeah, at least one of your main stat, yeah.
Yeah, and just maybe like focus on like the weapon, the badge, and sub weapon.
Yeah, so I would go through all of the equips, get the one line on everything, like the potential in the one line, at least in the current tier that they all have.
Mhm.
And then definitely work on the emblem, the secondary, and get those up to at least unique with some good stuff, and then swing back to the weapon. So always try to rely on what you already have as long as possible, and work mostly on the items that have the most room for improvement first, because that's where your money is going to be the most efficient.
All right.
Especially if they don't have anything else left, because then there's nothing to lose, right? If you use a cube and you get to unique, but it has horrible lines, nothing lost. If you already have 6% attack on the weapon that you're relying on, and you get it to unique, but you get horrible lines, now you lost 6% attack.
Yeah.
So you always want to look at it that way, like which item has the biggest room for improvement, and then focus on that one. I was gonna say something else. Oh wait. Oh yeah, usually I end with, like, if you look at a picture of your equipment inventory, is there like any equip there where you feel like you have no idea where to go next with that?
I mean, it's all. I mean, like just like the main like CRA set's pretty good for now, right?
Mm-hmm.
We went over the rings, or other rings pretty good, like the other ones like the.
Sorry, I got distracted. I said but I wasn't listening. Can you say that again?
So you said just try to get the event ring, right? And just
Mm-hmm.
remove the bronze ring.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Is the belt alright? I don't even know where my belt's from, to be honest.
Yeah, the set bonus is fine. This one has flame advantage. That's why the strength and the speed numbers are so high. So that's how you know they can get a decent amount of stat on them. Same thing with the glove, right? You can see the difference between the glove is a level 120 item and has 75 strength on it. And then you look at your what is another item around that? Oh, you look at your pendant, for example, which is also level 120.
Mm-hmm.
The horntail pendant. You can see you can comparatively see like the flame on the horntail pendant is like absolute rubbish, right? So this one does not.
Which was the flame? The blue number?
The -10 level required. That's the flame on this one. The blue is the Star Force. So the only thing you're getting from this, from the flame, is you can actually equip it at 210, at 110.
Oh, okay.
Woohoo! Yeah. So that's not really fantastic. Yeah. So that's why some items are way more important to focus on flames. So that's why I said for your top, and for the pink holy cup, and then after that for the was it the hat? Those are the most important things to flame on right now. General priority, I would definitely advise you to watch the flame video that I linked you and the transfer hammer video that I watched you. Those will basically help you a lot in prioritizing where you upgrade and how much money you can actually save moving forward with that, and how you can tell. Basically, for the flame video, it'll explain to you how you can tell if a flame is good or not based on what item it is. And transfer hammer video will explain to you where you can invest your money best to make sure that you can maintain value, because we don't have trade. So the main way that you can make it so that you can optimally upgrade and move through the game is by spending money in the right spot at the right time.
All right. Makes sense.
Yeah, it'll make more sense once you finish watching the video. But hopefully, with everything I've said now, you have like a very good baseline to understand and to like fit it all in place.
Yeah, I think it gives me something to do. Like I finally feel like.
Yeah, you came in this with like not knowing what to do, and now there's
training.
Now there's so much to do that you're gonna have to. Now you have a luxury problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll definitely be like, make sure you have daily money income, a little bit of Legion progress, symbols, and any kind of progress on node stones. Like, those are the most important things. If you have those in place, then just do whatever is the most fun to you, and that hopefully ticks one or two other boxes as well, but focus primarily on just having fun and finding out the stuff, just gravitating towards the stuff that you enjoy doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I think I got everything down.
Yeah, I'll upload it to YouTube as well, so you can make sure that you can watch it back and maybe show some friends to be like, look at what I have. And you can use it as a reference point, right? Even from before the video, and then maybe in a week or 2 weeks from now, and then see where you're at now to compare.
Oh yeah.
It'll probably be a huge difference already with like the redoing of the Legion. If you redo your hyperstats, and we did the Matrix.
I had no idea what Legion was, so that was really helpful.
Yeah, I tried to go through it very fast. It was probably a lot of information, and we still managed to not nearly do it in an hour and a half. It was like 2 hours. But yeah, I have to do. I already missed flag race, but we have to do Ursus and then Guild PQ, and then I have a boss and everything. So I do have to go now. But yeah, definitely. If there's any particular thing, just check the commands in the chat. There's almost 200 of them with like that directly linked to information that you might need. You can always hit me up on Discord if there's anything more detailed that you need, or just ask me in the chat, and I'll do my best to answer any other questions that you might have.
All right.
Anything pressing right now before I go?
No, I think I'm just gonna like write all what I got down like on a list or something, so I can just like focus, on that.
Yeah, if you're working out that list, then there's something that you're like, oh shit, why did I write that down here? I will upload the video soon, so that should be available in a little bit.
All right, man.
Yep. All right, best of luck. I know this was a lot, but
it's all good, man.
Yeah, hopefully it all
like,
makes
really
sense.
helpful.
Okay, sure.
All right, man. You have a good one, bro.
Yes, thank you. See ya. All right, cool. Yes. Yeah, I feel like really bad just saying like, oh, well, that's an hour and a half, fuck off. I don't want to do that because there's still so much we have to go through. But I think, yeah, I think they got their money's worth. Lots of information, lots of stuff to do. But yeah, a bunch of reading up on all the commands, exclamation mark commands in the chat should give a lot more context and a lot more detailed information and more nuances and exceptions and all that. Yeah, and if I'm always available if there's follow-up stuff. So if this was enjoyable to you, if this was informational, I'm very glad. Happy to hear. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Check the description of the video.